The stars outside Explorer. 9 shimmer like dust on a dark ocean. Inside the ship, 6 crew members stare at the planet displayed on the main screen. It looked exactly like Earth. Same blue oceans, same land shapes, same swirling clouds. But their navigation logs confirmed it. This wasn't Earth. It was a planet located millions of light years away, orbiting a dying red sun. It had no name. Not yet. Captain Reza stood silent. His jaw was tight. His eyes scanned every detail of the planet's surface. It was impossible, but the facts screamed otherwise. The computer scan showed identical structures to Earth: cities, roads, bridges, even moving vehicles. They zoomed in on one area, and the crew gasped. It was Manhattan. Not a copy, not a simulation. The exact city. Buildings stood in the same place. Central Park spread across the green center. Times Square blinked with lights. But the streets were quieter, slower. The people moved as if underwater. Their motions were stiff, strange, unnatural. "Wait," whispered Lena, the science officer. "Zoom in on that man. Right there, by the food cart." The computer focused, pixels sharpening. The man looked straight into the camera. Reza stepped forward. It was him. The same face. The same scar over his eyebrow. Even the same expression he had right now. Cold, calculating, afraid. "That's me," Reza said softly. A dead silence followed. No one knew what to say. They watched more satellite footage. More familiar faces. They found doubles of almost everyone on the ship. All alive, walking those streets. "What are the odds of this?" muttered Vikram, the ship's engineer. "0, Lena replied. They ran every test. DNA scans matched. The city infrastructure matched. Even weather patterns were eerily similar. It wasn't a copy. It was a mirror. Reza ordered the ship into orbit. They watched for days. Observed. Took readings. But the more they watched, the stranger it became. On this planet, people avoided their own reflections. In shops, mirrors were covered. In homes, window glass had a black film. When one man accidentally dropped a hand mirror in a cafe, everyone panicked. He screamed. Others ran. Then, as if nothing happened, silence returned. Another oddity. No one ever looked up. Not once. Hundreds of videos, yet not a single person tilted their head to the sky, not even during sunsets. It was like they were taught not to. Despite every warning sign, Reza gave the order to land. They touched down in an empty alleyway near Central Park. The city looked the same, smelled the same. A breeze carried the scent of roasted peanuts and dust. Sounds of faint traffic echoed from nearby streets. But it all felt wrong. Too quiet, too smooth. "Split into pairs," Reza commanded. "Keep radios open. No contact with anyone. We observe only." He walked with Lena. Vikram paired with Tasha, their linguist. The last two, Mike and Sarah, stayed by the shuttle. As Reza and Lena moved through the streets, they noticed the odd calm. People spoke in low voices. They walked in neat lines, never bumping into each other. No one used phones. No kids played. No music played from shops. Smiles were rare. Faces looked blank, as if wearing masks to themselves. Reza caught sight of a street sign, Lexington Avenue, just like home. But then Lena pointed to a billboard. It showed a diagram of a human head, but the skull had 2 brains. The text below read, "Complete unity is possible. Join the merge." They passed a bookstore. In the window was a book titled You Before You, The Science of Multiplicity. The author's name? Captain Reza Mani. His hand shook slightly. "Sir, you wrote that book?" Lena asked uneasy. "No," Reza replied. "I've never written anything." They kept moving. 10 blocks in, they reached Times Square. The screens lit up with synchronized images, smiling people hugging their doubles. A voice played on repeat. "Don't fear yourself. Embrace. Become. Survive." Then the screens blinked off. Just static. At that moment, a child ran across the street chasing a red ball. She stopped, turned, and stared at Reza. Her eyes widened. She screamed. Outsiders. Everyone froze. People turned their heads in perfect unison. Every eye locked on Reza and Lena. No one moved. No one spoke. Then, slowly, the people looked away and continued walking as if nothing had happened. Reza felt his heartbeat in his throat. Back to the shuttle. Now! They radioed the others. Fall back. Avoid contact. But Vikram didn't answer. Only static came from his channel. They raced through alleys and side streets. The city began to shift. Doors were closed. Windows were shut. Lights dimmed. It felt like the entire city was silently watching, waiting. They found Micah and Sarah near the shuttle. But Vikram and Tasha were still missing. Reza growled in frustration and ordered everyone to regroup. Lena pointed across the street. "Sir, look." They followed her gaze. At the far end of the plaza stood a massive black statue. They walked closer, hesitant. The figure was unmistakable. It was Captain Reza, carved in perfect detail. The same face, same posture. He wore the same uniform. Below the statue were words etched into dark stone. "He tried to stop us." Reza stared, frozen. The ground beneath his feet felt distant. His breath caught in his throat. A cold wind blew through the plaza, and the air smelled of ash. Sarah whispered, "What does it mean? What did you try to stop?" "I don't know," Reza replied, barely audible. "But maybe I already did." Then behind them came footsteps. They turned quickly. In the distance, someone stood in the shadows. The figure stepped forward. It was Tasha, but she looked different. Her skin was slightly paler. Her eyes were dull. Her movements robotic. Behind her was Vikram, or someone who looked like him. His face twitched unnaturally. His voice was flat. "We should go back," Mir Vikram said. "We belong here now." Micah reached for his weapon. "Don't," Reza ordered quietly. "We don't know what they are yet." Mir and Tasha stepped closer. "There's no need for fear. You came home. All versions do, eventually. What is this place?" Lena asked, her voice shaking. Mir Vikram smiled. "It's Earth. More Earth than yours ever was. The real Earth died a long time ago. You've been living in the echo." "That's a lie." "Is it?" Mir Tasha tilted her head. "You think your history is real? Your Earth is broken. This one is whole." A deep hum filled the air. The sky above began to ripple like waves in glass. The people in the city stopped walking and stared straight ahead, unblinking. Reza backed away slowly. "Everyone to the shuttle. Now!" The doppelgängers didn't chase them. They simply stood there, watching. Back at the shuttle, they locked the doors and lifted off. As the ship rose, Reza looked down at the statue once more. The face staring back at him felt unfamiliar now. Colder, harder, like a future version of himself that had made horrible choices. They returned to orbit in silence. Lena finally asked the question everyone feared. "Sir, if they're us, then what do they want?" Reza didn't answer, because deep down he already knew. Night on the mirror Earth was quiet. Too quiet. Explorer. 9 rested just outside the city, camouflaged in an abandoned industrial zone. The crew had taken shifts to watch the perimeter, but the tension hadn't left since the statue incident. Everyone was jumpy. Even the lights inside the ship flickered now and then without explanation. Lena couldn't sleep. The image of her own face, walking among strangers, haunted her. The words Mir Vikram had said kept looping in her head. "You came home. All versions do, eventually." She didn't trust him, but a part of her, something deeper, needed answers. She slipped out. No one noticed. She moved fast, her boots soft against the metal ramp. The night air was cold and still. Fog curled over the cracked pavement. Streetlights buzzed softly in the distance. She followed a path she didn't even realize she knew, down narrow streets and silent alleys, deeper into the city. She didn't stop until she reached an old library. It looked abandoned, shattered windows, vines crawling up stone walls, but its front doors were open, swinging slowly in the wind. Inside, candlelight flickered. She stepped in. The smell of dust and something sweet, like dried flowers, filled the air. Shelves stood crooked and broken, and in the center of the room stood a woman. Her back was turned. Her hair, her build, the curve of her shoulders, identical. The woman turned. It was her, but older, slightly, more tired. Her eyes held a strange sadness, but also something else. Peace. "You came?" Miralina said. Her voice was warm, familiar. Lena froze. "How do you know who I am?" "I've always known," Miralina replied. "We all do. Every version that crosses over is part of a pattern, a cycle. You were meant to find us." "I wasn't meant to sneak out. This wasn't planned." Miralina stepped closer. "That's what you think. But something deeper brought you. A pull you couldn't explain." Lena didn't respond. She looked around the library. Dust covered everything except the floor they stood on. No footprints, no dirt. It was clean, as if untouched by time. "What is this place?" "Safe," Miralina said softly. "For now. You don't have much time." "Time for what?" "You think you found a copy of Earth. But that's not what this is. It's a mirror, yes. But mirrors don't reflect only light. They reflect choices, outcomes, shadows. This world is the sum of what was denied." Lena's hands curled into fists. "You're not making sense." Miralina smiled faintly. "Not yet, but you'll understand soon. Things are already changing, aren't they?" Lena's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" Miralina reached into her pocket and pulled out a small silver pendant. A tiny symbol was etched on it, like an eye with a crack down the center. "Wear this. It will protect your identity." "From who?" "Not who. What?" "The ones who take. They're patient but clever. Once you're seen, once they taste your echo, they can become you. You'll vanish, and no one will remember you ever existed." Lena took the pendant, hesitant. "You still don't believe me," Miralina said softly. "I don't know what to believe." "That's okay. But listen to me. You must go back. And you must not lose that pendant." Lena stepped back. "Why help me?" Miralina turned away. "Because I was once like you. Confused. Lost. I didn't listen. And now I can't leave. Not ever." Lena felt the weight of those words settle in her chest. She backed away, slowly, and then turned and ran out of the building. The city was even quieter now. Too quiet. She didn't stop until she saw the ship in the distance, its shape like a sleeping beast in the darkness. She gripped the pendant tightly and stepped aboard, and froze. Someone was walking down the corridor in her uniform. Same boots, same jacket, same face. The woman stopped when she saw her. Their eyes locked. "What the hell?" Lena started. The other Lena narrowed her eyes. "You're not supposed to be here." Reza's voice came from behind. "Lena? Who are you talking to?" Lena turned to him, heart racing. "It's me, Sir. The other Lena spoke over her. "Captain, this woman attacked me near the cargo bay. I think she's one of them." "What?" Reza looked between the two of them. His expression cracked with confusion and dread. Micah and Sarah ran in with weapons drawn. "Stand down." Reza barked. "Both of you." Back against the wall. "I'm the real Lena," she shouted. "She's the copy. She's lying. She's lying." The other Lena said at the same time. "She's trying to confuse you." They both wore the same face. Micah stepped forward, weapon steady. "One of you talk. Now." Lena held up the pendant. "Ask her what this is. Ask her to show hers." The other Lena hesitated for a half second, just enough. "She doesn't have one," Lena said quickly, "because they can't create them. They don't understand what it means." The crew exchanged nervous glances. The other Lena's eyes twitched. She turned to Reza. "She's dangerous. Let me—" But before she could finish, Lena lunged forward and yanked the pendant off her own neck and pressed it against the other Lena's skin. There was a flash of light, a hiss. The other Lena screamed and dissolved, like smoke burning away. Micah dropped his weapon. Reza stepped back, stunned. "Holy hell!" Sarah whispered. Lena stood panting, staring at the spot where her double had been. The floor was clean again. No trace left. She held up the pendant, the metal now faintly glowing. This is real, she said. They're already inside. One got in. Reza stepped closer. What the hell is going on, Lena? She looked at him, her voice shaking. We're being hunted, and they look just like us. Suddenly, the lights flickered. All the screens on the command deck blinked off. Micah slammed a hand on the console. We lost satellite feed. No signal from Earth, Sarah said quickly. All channels dead. Systems are glitching. Vikram's voice crackled from engineering. Something's inside the network. Reza looked at Lena. What else did your double say? She said, we were meant to find this place. Like it was part of some plan. Reza clenched his jaw. Well, the plan just changed. Outside in the silent city, thousands of people stopped walking. Every single one of them turned and looked up at the sky. ChatGPT said. The hum of Explorer 9 systems was a comforting constant, masking the unease that had settled over the crew. Captain Reza sat alone in the dimly lit command center, sifting through the ship's database. He had a nagging feeling, a whisper from the depths of his memory, urging him to look deeper. As he navigated through classified files, a particular entry caught his eye. Project Mirrorgate, terminated, too dangerous. The file was heavily redacted, but fragment of information painted a chilling picture. It spoke of a clandestine initiative aimed at creating a parallel Earth, a controlled environment to study human behavior under isolated conditions. The project was abandoned due to unforeseen consequences, and all records were supposed to be destroyed. Reza's heart pounded. The planet they had discovered wasn't a random find. It was a buried secret, a manufactured world hidden from history. He summoned the crew to the briefing room, sharing his discovery. Lena, still shaken from her encounter with her mirror self, connected the dots. This isn't just a mirror Earth, she said. It's a backup, a control experiment. We were never meant to find it. Vikram added, the anomalies we've observed, the covered mirrors, the avoidance of sky, their behavioral controls. This entire planet is a test chamber. The realization settled heavily over the crew. They were entangled in a forgotten experiment, their presence potentially reactivating dormant protocols. Later, as Reza walked alone near the ship, a child approached him. The boy looked up with solemn eyes and whispered, You died here 5 years ago. Reza froze, the weight of the revelation anchoring him in place. The past was no longer just a memory. It was a living echo, and they were at its center. The air inside Explorer 9 had grown cold, not because of temperature, but because of something no one could quite explain. Something felt wrong. At first, no one noticed how different Jonas had become. He still spoke the same way, smiled at the same jokes, and followed every order from Captain Reza. But something about him felt too calm, too controlled. Lena was the first to say it out loud. He's not blinking enough, she whispered to Vikram during a late systems check. Vikram raised an eyebrow, confused. That's what you noticed? No, there's more, she said. He locked the engineering bay. No reason. Said it was a routine lockdown, but Reza didn't authorize it. It started with small things. Doors locked. Settings changed. Navigation protocols rewritten. One by one, parts of the ship started acting like they belonged to someone else. And Jonas, he watched it all, silent, observing, sometimes smiling to himself when no one else was looking. Captain Reza grew suspicious. He ordered a review of ship logs and internal surveillance. Hours later, he sat alone in the command chamber, watching a video from 2 nights ago, Jonas leaving the ship alone. But there was no footage of him coming back. What they saw instead chilled them to bone. Jonas stepped out into the darkness of Mirror Earth. 23 minutes later, someone walked back toward the ship. Same clothes, same walk, same face. But there was no entry recorded. The cameras blinked, a flicker of static. And then Jonas was back inside. That flicker became the crew's nightmare. That's not him, Reza whispered. They called a private meeting in the comms room, Everyone except Jonas. The fear in their eyes said what words couldn't. If Jonas was replaced, who else could be? No one had answers. They tried to confront him gently at first. Jonas, Reza said, keeping his tone neutral, did you notice any interference when you returned the other night? Jonas tilted his head slightly. No, everything was normal. Why? Vikram watched him carefully. You sure? No glitches, no time gaps? No, Jonas said again, slower this time. You seem nervous, Vikram. That was the last normal conversation they had. That night, the main engine failed. Auto repair protocols were blocked. Security doors sealed from the inside. Environmental controls shifted. Oxygen levels in 2 sections dropped sharply, almost fatally, before Lena caught the change. Reza ran to the system's core to reset the ship. Jonas was already there. I thought you were in the med bay, Reza said. Jonas smiled. You thought wrong. He vanished into a ventilation shaft before Reza could draw a sidearm. Panic spread. The crew split into teams, searching vents, hidden hatches, every dark corner. But Jonas was always ahead of them, using the ship's own system to trap, distract, and confuse. Each door they opened led to another sealed hallway. Every system they tried to override got rerouted. He knows the ship better than us, Vikram growled, sweating. Or he's reading us like a book. Lena stood near the command console, trying to force a reboot. That's when the message appeared. Begin Phase 2. It blinked once, then disappeared. What the hell was that? She shouted. Who's sending this? Reza demanded. No one answered. No one had time. An alarm rang across the ship. External comms were activated. Someone was sending a transmission from Explorer 9. Lena forced her way into the comm system. Her heart nearly stopped. Jonas stood in front of the main camera. Not their Jonas. This one was colder, more deliberate. He looked directly into the lens. To those who are listening, he said, the mirror held for too long. But now we're ready. Begin Phase 2. Earth won't survive this time. Then he cut the feed. The crew stared at the screen, stunned. Reza moved first. Cut the signal. Shut everything down. But it was too late. The transmission had already gone out. The coordinates were Earth's. Someone on the other side had received a message. Suddenly, from the hallway, came the sound of footsteps. Heavy, purposeful, and not just one pair. More were coming. Lena opened her eyes to the soft glow of morning sunlight filtering through familiar curtains. The scent of her mother's cooking wafted from the kitchen, and the distant hum of city life buzzed outside the window. She sat up, heart pounding. This was her childhood bedroom, untouched by time. Sweetheart, breakfast is ready, her mother's voice called. Lena hesitated, memories flooding back. Could it be real? She stepped out of bed, the floorboards creaking beneath her feet. Just as she remembered, the hallway walls bore the same family photos, and the kitchen was warm and inviting. Her mother turned, smiling. There you are. Sit down, eat before it gets cold. Lena sat, the chair familiar under her. She took a bite of toast, the taste transporting her back years. But something fell off. The clock on the wall ticked backward, and the calendar read a date from a decade ago. Mom, Lena whispered, what's going on? Her mother's smile faltered. You're home, dear. Isn't that what you wanted? Panic surged. Lena stood, backing away, the room distorted, colors bleeding into each other. She closed her eyes, willing herself to wake up. When she opened them, she was back on Explorer 9, lying on the floor of the med bay. Alarms blared and red lights flashed. Vikram hovered over her, concern etched on his face. You okay? He asked. I was home, Lena stammered. But it wasn't real. Vikram helped her up. You're not the only one. Reza thought he was back at the academy. I saw my sister. This planet, it's messing with our minds. They gathered the remaining crew in the command center. Everyone had experienced vivid hallucinations, reliving moments from their pasts. The mirror planet was invading their memories, exploiting their fears and regrets. We need to stay grounded, Reza said. Remember what's real. But the line between reality and illusion blurred. Crew members grew paranoid, accusing each other of being imposters. Trust eroded. Suddenly, the main screen flickered to life, displaying images of Earth cities engulfed in flames. Skyscrapers crumbled, and people ran in terror. A message blinked on the screen. "You brought them back." Silence fell over the room. The crew stared, horror-stricken. "What have we done?" Lena whispered. The mirror planet's influence had reached Earth, and the consequences were catastrophic. The ground beneath the crew's feet rumbled quietly as they stood at the entrance of the underground facility. This place was not marked on any star maps or mission files. It was a secret buried deep within the mirror planet's crust, and now they had found it. The air was thick and cold, filled with a strange hum that vibrated through their bones. Captain Reza led the way, his footsteps steady, but his eyes sharp. Behind him, Lena, Vikram, and the rest of the team followed, their flashlights cutting through the darkness like knives. The walls of the tunnel glistened with moisture, reflecting the faint light in eerie patterns. Every step echoed in the silence, making their nerves stretch tighter. As they reached the central chamber, the sight before them stole their breath away. Towering before them was a massive supercomputer, its surface alive with glowing panels, blinking lights, and screens filled with strange symbols and numbers. At its core was a countdown timer, flashing relentlessly, hours, minutes, seconds, ticking down to an event none of them fully understood yet. Lena stepped closer, staring at the screens. Her heart pounded as she read the words slowly appearing on the displays. Cosmic alignment imminent. Full planetary merge in T-4 hours. A low murmur ran through the crew. The weight of that phrase sank deep into their minds. This wasn't just some random celestial event. This was a disaster waiting to happen. Reza's voice broke the silence. If the two Earths merge, the results will be catastrophic. We're not just dealing with one reality, but two. Both could collapse, or worse, fuse into one unpredictable world. Vikram's brow furrowed. Unpredictable how? The mirror people believe they are the future. They want this merge to prove their dominance. They see themselves as the evolved versions of humanity. Reza's eyes darkened. We have to stop this. The crew gathered around the supercomputer, their faces lit by its unnatural glow. Data streamed rapidly across the screens. Star alignments, gravitational waves, quantum entanglements, all converging in a cosmic dance that would soon change everything. Suddenly, Lena's fingers paused over the keyboard. "Look at this." She pointed to a smaller screen displaying an animation of the two planets drawing closer, their surfaces starting to blur and overlap. The moment the planets merge, the fabric of reality will twist. Our Earth could be erased or rewritten entirely. Reza clenched his fists. We cannot let that happen. Not after everything we've been through. Vikram noticed a small panel blinking on the side of the console. There's something here labeled Emergency Reset. Could this be our way to stop the merge? Lena studied it carefully. It looks like a fail-safe device, but it needs to be activated manually. Reza's eyes scanned the readout, meaning someone has to stay behind in this chamber to turn it on. The rest of us can escape. A heavy silence fell over the group. The thought of one of them sacrificing themselves to save Earth weighed on everyone. Jenna, the youngest crew member, swallowed hard. I'm not ready to say goodbye, not like this. Lena placed a hand on Jenna's shoulder. None of us are, but we have to think about the future, for everyone back home. Reza stepped forward. This mission has already cost us so much. I will stay. You all need to get back and warn Earth. No, Lena interrupted firmly. You have to lead the team back. I'll stay. Reza looked surprised but nodded slowly. It's your choice. The countdown on the supercomputer reached 3 hours and 50 minutes. Time was slipping away fast. Suddenly, the room trembled. The crew grabbed onto nearby rails as dust and debris rained from the ceiling. What was that? Vikram shouted. Lena checked the console. The planetary merge is causing instability in the planet's core. We don't have much time. Reza's gaze hardened. Lena, get ready. I want to hear your final decision soon. Lena nodded, swallowing her fear. She stared at the emergency reset panel, wondering if she had the strength to face what was coming. Outside the chamber, the mirror people's presence grew stronger. Shadows flickered at the edges of the tunnel, whispering threats and promises. Their voices echoed. The merge is destiny. You cannot stop evolution. Jenna shivered. They're watching us. They always are, Vikram said grimly. We need to move fast. Lena's mind raced. She thought about her family, the life she left behind, and the strange doubles they had seen on this planet. What did those copies want? Why were they so desperate to merge two worlds? Her eyes flicked to a small photo tucked inside her pocket. A picture of her younger self smiling, unaware of the nightmare unfolding now. The timer kept counting down. 2 hours and 30 minutes remained. Reza gathered the crew for a quick briefing. Lena, if you stay behind, activate the emergency reset. It will shut down the supercomputer and stop the cosmic alignment. Once done, find shelter and try to survive until we return. Return? Jenna asked, disbelief in her voice. Reza nodded. We will come back for you. This is not the end. Lena swallowed hard, feeling the crushing weight of the sacrifice before her. As the crew prepared to leave the chamber, Lena's eyes locked with Reza's. Be careful. Don't trust anyone back there. The mirror people may try to follow you. Reza gave a firm nod. Take care of yourself. The team filed out slowly, the corridor growing darker as the supercomputer's glow dimmed behind them. Alone, Lena approached the console. She pressed a series of buttons, her breath quickening. The emergency reset panel sprang to life, its lights pulsing rhythmically. Suddenly, the chamber shook violently. Cracks spiderwebbed across the walls as the cosmic merge accelerated. Lena's heart pounded. She pressed the final key. The machine groaned and sparked. Reset activated. The supercomputer announced in a cold, robotic voice. But just as relief began to wash over her, the lights flickered out. Darkness swallowed the room. A cold voice whispered behind her, You can't stop what's already begun. Lena spun around, hard in her throat. The shadows moved and twisted, revealing a figure. Her mirror self, eyes gleaming with cruel satisfaction. The mirror Lena smiled. You delayed the inevitable, but now the real merge will start. Phase 2. Lena's breath hitched. What have you done? The mirror smiled wider. I am the future. You're just a memory. Outside the chamber, the cosmic countdown continued. The fate of two worlds balanced on a knife's edge. The emergency reset may have slowed the disaster, but the real threat was far from over. Lena gritted her teeth. She had to survive. For Earth. For the future. The planet trembled beneath her feet. Time was running out. The captain's log blinked on the screen, cold and steady. We have one chance. Either we stop them or they erase everything we are. Captain Reza stared at the words, his fingers tight around the console. Behind him, the rest of the crew moved with grim determination. Time had shrunk to moments, every heartbeat echoing louder than before. The underground facility hummed with tension. The supercomputer was silent now. The emergency reset triggered, but the cosmic merge was still unstable. The mirror planet trembled, as if it held its breath, waiting for the final moment to break through. Reza gathered the crew in the narrow corridor. We split up. One team will head to the planet's core to finish shutting down the merge. The other will go back to Earth and protect it from any incoming threats. The mirror people won't give up that easily. Lena's eyes met Reza's. I'm going with you. Reza shook his head. You've done enough. You'll lead the team to Earth. Vikram stepped forward. I'll go to the core. I need to end this. Jenna's hands trembled, but she nodded. I'll come too. The teams divided quickly, tension sharp as blades. Reza, Lena, and a few others prepared to leave for Earth. Vikram, Jenna, and two more headed toward the planet's heart. As they moved through the twisting tunnels, Lena felt a cold shadow trail them, memories pressing on her mind like waves. Faces flickered in the dark, moments from Earth, moments from the mirror planet. Each memory cut deep. Lost friends, family left behind, the double lives they had seen. Vikram's voice broke the silence. We're close. The core should be just ahead. Jenna glanced nervously at the walls. I can feel it, too, like the planet's heartbeat is speeding up. They reached the core chamber, a vast hollow space glowing with shifting energy. The core pulsed like a living thing, lights swirling in chaotic patterns. The merge was pulling at the seams of reality. Suddenly, a figure stepped forward from the shadows, a perfect double of Vikram, his eyes cold and empty. You can't stop what is meant to be, the double said, voice echoing strangely. We were meant to be one. Vikram's breath caught. The room seemed to tilt. Memories flooded back, his childhood home, a sister lost in the merge, laughter and tears overlapping with fear. You're me, but not, Vikram whispered, anger and sorrow mixing. The double smiled sadly. We are two halves of the same soul. One must fall for the other to live. Jenna raised her weapon, but Vikram stepped forward, eyes locked on his double. Then I choose to live for those we lost. A fierce battle broke out between the two Vikrams. Energy crackled as their weapons clashed, each strike shaking the chamber. Meanwhile, back with Reza's team, the tunnel shook violently. Lena's communicator beeped. Vikram, status? Static. Then Vikram's voice strained. Engaged, almost done. Reza gritted his teeth. We have to hold the line on Earth. The mirror people will try everything to break through. They hurried to the corridors, arriving at a control room where holograms showed Earth cities, glowing under attack by strange shadows. Mirror people slipping through cracks in space. Lena activated the defense grid. We have to push them back now. Explosions rocked the chamber as mirror forces attacked. The crew fought desperately, weapons blazing, hearts pounding. Back at the core, the battle reached its peak. Vikram and his double locked eyes one last time. With a sudden surge, Vikram pushed his double back into the core's energy, causing a massive explosion that shook the planet. The cosmic merge trembled but began to reverse. Vikram fell to the ground, breathing hard. Jenna rushed to his side. You did it. Not yet, he whispered. There's still one thing. Meanwhile, on Earth, Reza's team held their ground, pushing the mirror invaders back into the shadows. Lena's eyes scanned the control panel. Suddenly, an alarm sounded. We have a breach in the reality barrier, Lena shouted. A figure appeared behind Reza. Calm, too calm. It was Jonas, or rather, the mirror Jonas. He smirked. You think this is over? Jonas said, voice low and cold. Phase 2 begins now. Before anyone could react, Jonas vanished into the shadows. Back at the core, Vikram's communicator crackled. We stopped the merge. But there's a problem. Lena's voice was tense. What is it? Vikram hesitated. One of us switched realities. The team on Earth exchanged worried looks. Reza stepped forward. Who? Jenna's eyes flicked to Lena. It's you. Lena's heart hammered. No, I stayed. Reza's gaze sharpened. Then who? Suddenly, the communication cut out. Days later, back on Earth, the crew tried to settle back into their lives. The merge was stopped, the mirror threat pushed back. But something felt off. In the silence of his quarters, Reza stood before a mirror. He stared at his reflection. Then the reflection's eyes gleamed with a cold smirk. Reza blinked. The smirk remained. Alone, he whispered, One must fall. But who? The camera lingered on the mirror's surface, where a faint shadow moved behind his reflection, a secret waiting to be uncovered. The fight was not over. It had just begun.